Welcome to the Breakthrough to Your Best Success online event. Join your host, Elizabeth Hamilton-Guarino, and the contributors from the Success Guidebook and other special guests to visualize, actualize, and amplify you and your best success. This conference will help you redefine success, transform your goals, embrace change, design and realize your best life, and much more.
Welcome to the Breakthrough to Your Best Success conference. I forgot where I was for a second. Del, I'm just mesmerized by your awesomeness. It's so awesome to have you with us and in the book and everything. Everybody, this is Del Duduit, and he's a really amazing author of, God, how many books now? I love your books.
21 published and a couple more haven't been published, so 21.
Yeah, and they're sports, various sports. Infused with blessings and verses and kindness and love and God and all these amazing things. And so I love your book so much. Which one's your favorite?
Yeah, that's good. I've been asked that a couple times. My favorite's probably I had two of them. Dugout Devotions is was my first sports related devotional kind of that really took off, and it was kind of a pioneer book, and nothing out there like it. So it's kind of my favorite. And then the book I have coming out later this fall about the Bengals, I just like it, not because it's about the Bengals, but it just flows well. It's one of my favorite books because it just flowed. It was so fast to write and just came out so quickly. So that's my other favorite. It'll be out later this fall, called Bengal Believer. So.
Yeah. Well, it's an honor to have you in the Success Guidebook, which is my new book. And I think one of the reasons why I begged and pleaded to have you in the book, although you said yes, so I was good, because we've been friends for a while now. I really admire the way you go after things and don't give up. And even in moments of when you get a no, you still continue to look for the yes in the no and things like that. So I thought you were just such a great example to have in the book for asking what you need. And so you start on page 107. I've got my book here is all kind of dog-eared and stuff, but 107. And your story is one of the longer ones in the book, and I wanted it to be that way. I was so glad you wrote this the way you wrote it. And so talk about why you said yes and what's in the book for our readers to learn.
Well, first of all, thank you for asking me. I was very, very humbled by that, because I think you're up there with some of the bestsellers. So I'm trying to get there myself. So thank you for asking me. I'm very humbled by that. And one of the chapters that I was asked to write and very graciously wrote it was my book about tenacity and about how my pursuit of Tim Tebow and wanting to get to Tim Tebow to interview him for my books. So it wasn't an easy task in the author world. I mean, I'm not a nobody, but basically I am. So I'm not a big name. I'm not a powerful news network. So I was able to get a one-on-one with Tim Tebow, and it took me some time to get it, and I just didn't give up. And there was a lot of obstacles I faced in that, and so the lesson in that is you can be pushy or you can be persistent without being pushy.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did, and it ended up with great rewards because I went the right way. I did it the right way.
That's amazing. I see your other books, and I saw the other day you're like, Jack Nicklaus just signed my book.
Yeah, that was fun.
Isn't that cool? So it's happening.
Yeah. I interviewed Jack a couple times 2 years ago up at the memorial, and he's very professional. I mean, very, very humble. But so now when the book was out a couple of months ago, I was up there this weekend, obviously for the memorial tournament, and we had a few moments together. So I said, "Hey, the book's out. I'd love to give you a copy." And he says, "So I'm in this." I said, "Yeah, I got 3 or 4 chapters in here about our conversations." And he says, "Well, you got to sign the book to me." I'm like, "Oh, of course." So I said, "I got an extra will be someone for me too," because of course I would. So I was very, very honored for him to ask me to sign a copy for the book and then pose for a picture. Jack's great. Obviously, you can't have a golf book without Jack Nicklaus. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
what I
no,
would do.
I'm so happy for you. Yeah, I see where you go and your travels and the things you do, and it's cool. And the other thing that I love, love, love about you is that you also pay attention to the high school sports. So
Mhm.
it's not just, all these famous people, you go back and you really take care of the kids who are trying their hardest to succeed. And I think that's huge.
Well, yeah, because I was there too at one time. I was a high school player, and if I'd have a really good game, I'd go to the paper the next morning, and oh man, they didn't mention me at all. And
Yeah.
and so as a sports writer, sports broadcaster of high school sports, so I don't always do it, but I try to incorporate every kid I can during that game, because even if it was he even if it was a minor play or something, I try to get it in because I remember what it was like.
Yeah.
And I don't guarantee it. I don't do it all the time, but especially if the team loses, you got to try to find a way to slide it in there or try to mention a kid,
Yeah. So you
especially
don't
if there's something like that.
And so you don't crush souls either, at a young age,
Yeah,
It's
really.
so crush dreams and souls. It's like, oh no, we don't want to be doing that. So
No.
I love it when people take care of the kids playing their hearts out for whatever
Yeah.
it is that they love to do, and people recognize that. We have a good crew here in Maine, um, who helped Cam, who
Yeah.
was doing articles about the team and the people and everything, and I've watched them, so I've learned so much from the way they cover sports here in Maine, because it's thorough. It's every sport, it's every kid, it's gracious, it's kind, it's uplifting, it's, everything that it could be to help people succeed instead of putting people down.
Mhm.
Because there's nothing worse than hearing, to me anyway, hearing something negative about a professional player. I'm like, do you realize what they did to get there?
Yeah.
They are not bad. Yeah, I
No.
don't like hearing that. So that part of that industry kind of freaks me out a little bit. I'm like, no, 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 no. We don't badmouth people.
No, I mean, even in high school sports, you can say if the kid made, that's the beauty about sports writing, is you can editorialize a little bit. And if the kid made an ill-advised play, you can mention that. You can call it a bonehead play, but then you can also redeem that time as well. So he made up for it this way. So
Yeah,
you can do that
yeah,
when you're a sports writer.
yeah. Love it. All right. So we have 5 questions to ask you that we've been asking everybody. So the Success Guidebook examines success in a new and redefined way. How has your perspective of success and the pursuit of success evolved throughout your life?
That's a great question, because it has evolved, and this is not rehearsed. We didn't rehearse these,
Oh,
so
yeah.
it has changed over the years. When I was first starting out in the media world, I wanted all these awards. I wanted to be recognized, and that to me was a sign of success back then. And to me, that stuff's important. It doesn't matter anymore. Those things don't matter as much as what I feel inside when I do a good job. So success has changed in that aspect of it, as far as even um, sports writing, as far as getting books published as well. Success is different. Is not.
Yeah.
I don't look at it the same as I did 20 years ago, 25 years ago, with money and things like that. I chased after these trophies and recognition and things like that. And I look back on it and think, what, that stuff doesn't matter. That stuff wasn't as important as getting the stories right, and making sure people are just happy with what you're doing. Because years ago, if you kind of trample on somebody to make yourself look good or look big.
Yeah.
And so yeah, today that my view of success is just more internal. Hey, I think I did a good job here. And if people see me on the street or whatever, or Bob Evans or Tim Hortons, and a lot of them say, hey, enjoyed that column the other day. Hey, it really made me smile or something like that. So that anymore is more rewarding than some of these trophies I've been blessed to win and things like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. We backed almost every conversation up that we've done so far into what's the difference between you now and then. And everybody kind of has said the same thing. Like, ask me that question in my 20s and I'm trampling over people maybe to get what I want, and trying to
yeah,
achieve personal success and things like that. So maybe there's an element of that that's real, and part of it to kind of get to where you are. But yeah, no, I hear you. We're
yeah.
all singing the same song there, definitely. um So, and then the other thing too, just specific to books and things like that, even to have a book published is
Yeah.
successful. And I always say it's another creature to market the thing and find readers.
Mhm.
However, just to even get to the point of having a book, there's so few people that sign book contracts. It's almost like you're in the MLB already. It's that few.
It is. And so again, it's 7 years ago. This wasn't a goal of mine. I never wanted to write a book. I never was on my bucket list, wasn't ever in my train of thinking to have a book published. So to have 20 some in 7 years is really humbling to me.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of hard work.
Do you by chance, and don't get up if you don't have it, but do you have dugout devotions near you, like within reach?
Yeah.
Can
Here,
you
right
hold
here.
it up? I love this book,
This
everybody.
was
It
the
is a
start of it.
family
Yeah.
favorite.
They got devotions.
Yes, there it is.
Inspirational hits from MLB's best. Iron Stream Media did this one, and they've done the series. And it is not about baseball. Actually, it's about well-known professional players who've faced struggles or who have gone through adversity or who've been inspired or who inspired them. So it's their stories about either faith or inspiration or motivation. And I just happen to use well-known players to illustrate the point of
Yeah,
that.
no.
So
How's the notion of success guided you in making decisions, basically, whether it's big life or big business or anything, any level?
well, anymore, again, and that's evolved because when I first started out writing books, I wanted to get to and do everything. I wanted to get to the book shows. I wanted to get to these conferences and things like that. And there's a fun, and there's a time when and if you've gone to some of these events, these book signings and things like that, sometimes it's not financially worth it to do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you
Sometimes it's
kind of
crickets. It's flat out crickets. It's like
yeah.
nobody showed up. Oh
I
no.
know.
Yeah.
So anymore, I'm looking at them as I have a different attitude towards them as they're fun now instead of am I going to get am I going to make anything of that?
Yeah.
So I was just invited to one a couple of weeks ago up in northern Indiana, and I thought, nah. But now I thought, you know what? I'm going to because I enjoy them and they're more fun and it's not so much as a return on investment as is you're promoting some things and you're trying to make somebody feel good and you're smiling to them and making them feel important because folks should come up and grab your book, whether they're I don't know how they are, whatever, and you talk to them, it kind of makes them feel good
Yeah.
and it makes them feel special. And if you take a few moments and talk to them and get to know them, so that's why I do it now. It's more enjoyable for both sides of us because you make a relationship. There was a gentleman I didn't know him. He came to a book signing I did in New York City, and about 6 months later, he sent me this email. Hey, I met you. You really made my day. I'm gonna start pursuing my dream too. So
That's
things
cool.
like that that's the method of why I make my decisions now. Whether
Good.
it's if I'm going to eat $200, so what?
Yeah.
Um, if I'm going to make somebody feel good, that's actually worth it more. So
Yeah, when we go to South Carolina for the winter, I've done a book signing 2 years in a row down at the Myrtle Beach Barnes and Noble. And
yeah,
I can't say as though people are lining out the door to see me or anything like that, but it
hey,
gets busy in there and there's traffic going in and out. And I've met so many people
yeah,
through those book signings. And I tell you, I was scared. I'm
yeah,
like, I don't know anybody here, and I'm not super familiar with South Carolina. And it was the nicest group
mhm.
of people at the store. One of the gals is even in the book as a contributor
That's fun. That's
in
awesome.
the new Success Guidebook. We had such a connection. So yeah, no, I totally understand. And if the reasons change for why we do things, and it's
Yeah.
interesting too,
So
because you think it's one thing and it's really another.
I teach at some writing conferences. I'll teach a class on how to have a good book signing, and a lot of authors are introverts and they want to sit behind the table. And I said, you got to get out on that table in front of the table, and you got to talk to people and you mingle with them and you ask them questions about their life,
Yeah.
and they're going to say, hey, this guy, he's not a bad guy. I think I'll buy this book. So, but if you sit back there behind the table with your pen ready to go or looking at your phone, nobody's going to care.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to buy the book. I've had so many people buy my books because I just talk to them
Yeah.
and you go
Yeah,
out and mingle with them.
I don't sit behind the table either. I'm up and talking and
Gotta
probably mildly annoying even, but whatever.
be.
Let me accost you as you walk in the door. Here's my book. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, anyway, but yeah, no, you definitely can't sit on your phone at book signing.
No,
That's
I've seen it
yeah,
happen.
no. No. Okay. So here's the next one. Sometimes we just flat out miss our goals. We don't
Yeah.
achieve the level of success, we've envisioned or whatever it is. Can you remember a time in your life where something like that happened, book related or not, whatever it is, that you persevered through this type of disappointment?
Yeah, I mean, I got a whole bunch of those to tell you.
Yeah, don't we
But
all?
the one that pops in my mind since you just brought up dugout devotions, well, I'll use a story about that, and um, it'll be a quick one. But I was at the Florida Christian Writers Conference, and I was new, I was brand new to the world, and my agent and I were sitting there having dinner with a very well known publisher in the Christian writing world, pretty big publisher, well known publisher. This guy pitches me the idea. He's like, "You ever thought about a devotional with like athletes?" And I thought, "No, I haven't." And so he left. And so my agent said, "That guy just pitched you a book." I'm like, "Oh, he did, didn't he?" So I went back, started going to Major League Baseball games, and interviewing players. And then we came up with the book, right? And so we contacted him. "Hey, we have this." He said, "I love it. I love it." So we got this big, conference call with like 19 people on the conference call, and they're all saying, "Hey, we love this. When can you have it?" Blah blah blah. And I said, I said, "When do you want it?" And they gave me the date. I said, "Sure, I'll have it." So they came. I had it. Had a big proposal to them, and they turned it down. Right?
Oh, no.
They pitched it
They
to
thought you
me.
might be going there, but wow, really?
They pitched it to me. I did it. They were
And they
blown
didn't
away with it. And they said, "We're going to pass." And so,
get it.
like,
I'm sure you didn't either. You're like,
yeah,
what?
it's like, what in the world? So a whole year goes by. An entire year goes by. I have this book, in my on my my computer for a year, and my agent's pitching it to folks. But I met another publisher, a new upcoming publishing house at the same conference a year later, Iron Stream Media. They said, "Dale, we love this. We want this." And now it's, I'm in my 8th or 9th book with them on this series. So uh, yeah, disappointed for a year, but then waited to see what happened, and it was a better fit. So
Yeah. That's like
yeah.
it's like passing on Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody or something. I don't know. You're forever going to be known as the guy who passed on Dell's book. Sorry.
But then this editor, who were friends,
Yeah, no.
he was my cheerleader. He took it
Yeah.
to them, and they said no. And he called me, said, "Dale, I don't know why they rejected you." And so when it came out and did really well, when it hit 10,000 copies sold, he said he took it and threw it on his editor's desk and said, "You guys just screwed up."
Yeah, they sure did. You're forever known as the guy or whoever it
Yeah.
was. Whoops. Yeah, no. Can you, yeah, no, that's a big one. I actually didn't know that story too. I don't know how
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but yeah, no, that's an interesting story. I have a
Mhm.
stack of rejection letters
Yeah.
it's it's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
it's a pile. Anyway, all right. So just goes with the territory, right?
Yes.
The most elusive aspect of finding success seems to be the ability to have it encompass all the aspects of our lives. For example, like we pursue success at the detriment of other areas, such as our health or our relationships or something like that. A lot of people go full steam ahead in one direction and miss all the other areas of their life. Um, do you agree that success is multifaceted?
Oh yeah, it is multifaceted. There's pros and cons to it. There's and again, I'm very humbled by it. I kind of think I've been successful.
Yeah.
At times I don't think I am, but it is, yeah, there are costs and there are um pros and cons to it. And so I've, as I get older, I try to look at that and I think I could go to this event, or I could, I've been gone for 3 weeks, or I could stay home and go to my, grandson's soccer game, which is more important this time. So I try to balance those out, and or else, I could go full force ahead, but there will be consequences. I'll crash and burn if I don't stop
Yeah.
and look at some other things, and the people who help me as well.
Yeah.
You always have to acknowledge. There's a couple of clients that I don't represent anymore, but when I was an agent, but and it used to bother me, but they would thank everybody else and never ever thank me, and I was the one who really helped them. And
Yeah.
so I go overboard sometimes in thanking people and recognizing them for their work. So if you don't go, if you go full force, you could lose that aspect of it and not recognize people really helped you along the
Yeah.
way. And,
That's a good point. If you're going to go full force, go all gratitude on it, and then thank
yeah,
people and all that stuff. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm kind of the same way. As I get older, I'm like way more aware of my health, because like in my 20s, you asked me this question, I'd be like, what health, relationships? No,
no.
I need money, or I need a this, I need a that, kind of thing. And again, so I think if you ask the question at different ages, you might get
Yeah,
a different answer. Like if we were both sitting here 20, it'd be like, oh, let me just tell you how much money I need right now because I have student loans or whatever it is. Right?
I can say right now, yeah, I can say right now, I'm more busier now than I've ever been in my life. I mean, but
Yeah.
it's good.
Me too. Yeah.
It's a good busy, and I enjoy it. Or else I'd rather be doing what I'm doing than sit around and be bored.
Yeah.
I was all over the state of Ohio this weekend. I mean, just this weekend,
Yeah.
from one to the other, and 2 or 3 different events. But I can't think of anything else I'd rather be doing. So it all
Yeah.
balances out. Yeah.
There's nothing. I love Ohio. I'm from Iowa. I know Ohio well. I was a Browns fan for quite a long time. Kind of still secretly am, but boy, that
Yeah.
Mason, Ohio. I don't know how close you are to Mason, Ohio, in the Big East tournament. That is so cool at Prasco Park. They do an amazing job.
Yep.
Just plug in Georgetown for a minute here, the Big East. How fun was that? We drove from Maine to Ohio last year, to Mason, Ohio, for the Big East tournament, because Georgetown was in it and Cam was there. And
Yep.
I just couldn't even believe free food, and it was impeccable, and the whole town is perfect. And what a
Yeah.
neat
Mason's area.
place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just east of Cincinnati. So it's a Mason's great little area.
Yeah, we road tripped that. That was fun. Anyway,
Yeah.
sidebar. But the other thing about multifaceted success too is, as you get to do something you love, doesn't it sort of feel like it seamlessly fits in a
Oh my
way?
gosh. I don't feel like I mean, really, people say this. I have a great job. I love my job. I love what I do with the books. I love what I do with sports writing. I'm I really I had a job that I hated. So
Yeah.
I've been
Had
on
a few of
both ends.
those.
And so I've been on both ends, but what I'm doing now, oh my gosh, I'm like I'm living my best life possible
Yeah.
and can't get any better. And so I was thinking about here in a few years trying to scale back a little bit because I'm doing so much that it's starting to wear on me because I'm pushing 60. But
Yeah.
I'm want to think about some things that I can eliminate.
Yeah,
But
or mentor somebody who's got an interest in it. Would be such a cool idea to have a mini me. Um,
yeah,
yeah, in a,
it's
in
kind
a
of
good way.
scary, but yeah.
It's very cool if you can have that impact. That's the change. That's the very end of the Change Guidebook, the other book I wrote. Like, having that impact on another young human being is so cool, because they don't learn the same way that we learn necessarily. So
Yeah.
you pick up tools and techniques from somebody older who learned a different way, or there's so many little nuances that you can teach if somebody's
I
open to it.
I received an email about a year ago from a kid. I don't know who he is. I don't know anything about him. He sent me this email. He tracked down my email,
Huh?
and he said because of he's picked up Dugout Devotions, First on Devotions, and 3 or 4 other books I've written. And he said that it's inspired him to do something similar.
Oh, I love it.
So yeah, and so I was like, oh, this kid's like 19 years old, made me feel really good.
The last question, and this is a fun
So,
conversation, so thank you for being here. How does authenticity and integrity factor into achieving success and maintaining it? And can here's my take on you too, just if I can interrupt for 2 seconds.
yeah.
It's that, that's what makes you able to go to person and interview them for your books. To me, I mean, that authenticity and that integrity, because Tim Tebow doesn't want his name in your book if you're not authentic and have integrity and character and things like that. So that's like a stamp of approval right there. I love Tim Tebow, just so you know.
It-
You know that already.
yeah,
Yeah.
Tim was a great interview, but you're right, the integrity part, because this has only happened a couple times. I've wanted to get to a player that I thought had a really good image or and so forth, and then as I get closer to the person, I find out I might not want to talk to this person.
Yeah.
because I'm listening to a conversation, and I'm not judgmental, but if they keep whipping off the F word 19 times in 20 in like 2 sentences, like, I don't know if I want to be around this person. I don't know if I want to include this person because what they portray in one area is not what I'm seeing. And I get that too. They're down in the locker room where it's a safe place,
Yeah.
and things like that. But so that's only happened a couple times, and I've had so I've established a pretty good friendship with a lot of the team chaplains.
Oh,
And
nice.
I'll go up to them, hey, what do you think about this person? Or who should I talk to? I'll go talk to such and such. I said, well, what about this guy? No, he's been struggling lately. You might not want to, you might want to just avoid that one for a while, and things like that. So uh, learning that area of it is just because someone says they're one thing and on Twitter or on X or whatever, and then you see them meet them in real life might be a little different. And the same with like everybody. So I try to live what I'm putting out there, and that's a big part of it. The
Yeah,
integrity.
when I got to meet the Savannah Bananas for the book, because
Yeah,
at an all media access pass, and I've talked to him several times to put Jesse in the book and things like that, and had one-on-ones and stuff. But when I met him in person, I was so afraid that I was going to be like disappointed. And I'm like, oh, and he's so who he is. He's
yeah,
exactly who he is.
yeah,
That was so, I was like, oh, thank God, because I want you
yeah.
in my book so much. I'm like, cool, you're cool. And then I was like, well, who should I interview? I said that exact thing because I'm like, you have free access to anybody. And I'm like, I don't know any of these people super well. So who should I interview? And he pointed me in different directions. And
Exactly.
every single person that we met at the Savannah Bananas was the nicest, kindest,
Mhm.
egos thrown away.
Yeah,
Hey mom type, because I'm 100 years older than everybody, kind of thing. Nice to Cam, nice to me. Just they are exactly what they portray.
right.
And that was so, it gives me goosebumps thinking about it. I'm like, oh, thank goodness. Because can you imagine if he was grumpy in his yellow suit? You'd be like, oh man.
Well, there have been times when I've approached somebody and maybe the experience wasn't great, and I
Yeah,
think to myself, maybe they're having a bad
yeah,
day. I don't know what's going on in their life, but when it's the fifth or sixth time and they're nasty, then it's
yeah,
that's how they are. So I try to give everybody benefit of the doubt because these players I interview, they go through rough times too. They go through turmoils and problems. Maybe I got them on a bad day, and because I'm not always pleasant, so I give them that benefit of the doubt. But then again,
yeah.
4 or 5
And then
times, it's the same.
yeah. Yeah. And then the flip side of you too, putting that back on you, your character, your integrity, like you as a human being, they know they can trust you, and we know we can trust you. And I know I know who you are, kind of thing. And I think that's really cool when that's an author thing, when the author is this cool when you meet him in person.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that can be a really big bummer too. It's like, oh no. They're
Yeah,
not
no, authors are
nice, or
different.
their ego, or they think they're the best author ever, or whatever it is. You're like, oh man, please. Right?
Yeah, there was one well-known sports reporter I met who was doing a book signing, and I won't say if it's male or female, but they were the nicest person in the world. And buy my, here's my book, buy my book. I run into them 4 or 5 times up in the press box. They're not a nice person.
A nice person. Yeah.
They're not a nice person.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Yeah. When people are three people, it's scary. Anyway.
Yeah, that's fun.
Is there anything I missed? I know I want to ask your website, the name of your new book. Uh,
Okay.
if you could go through some of those things. I know you're on Facebook. Is there anywhere
Yeah.
else?
X is probably I'm on X. I mean, you follow me there too.
Yeah.
It's at Del Didway. My website is at Del Didway, and the last name is spelled Duduit. So it's DELDUDUIT.com. And I've been scaling back on social media as well. I don't do a lot of them. I do LinkedIn, but I've scaled back on some of those. But I've got 3 books coming out this year. Of course, Birdies, Bogeys, and Blessings just released. It's a devotional for golfers, obviously. I have Goal Line Devotions. It's the 3rd installment of my NFL series. That'll be out, I think, in August. And then Bengal Believer 52 Who Devotions for the Cincinnati Faithful. will be out in, I think, August. I'm not sure about the release date on that, but right before the season. And
Love it.
I just like that one because it's obviously the Bengals are going to. I cover the Bengals all the time, so I think they're going to do well. I think they're going to they're going to be more popular the next several years with Burrow at the under center. So we're trying to hop on that bandwagon with that book. So those three will be out this year. This year.
Yeah. Are you a Swiftie at all? Taylor Swift fan.
We were in Kansas City for the game, and we're down in the tunnel, and her little entourage walks through.
Oh, you're kidding me.
I didn't really. They were telling us to get out of the
You
way.
lucky.
Get out of the way. We're like, you know what? You have no authority in the NFL to tell me to get out of the way.
Yeah.
So we did. So we kind of didn't.
That's awesome.
And we saw our little ponytail bopping through there, but no, I'm not pro or I'm not pro or con. I just didn't care at that moment.
Yeah. We have a whole T-Swift chapter in the Success.
Oh, awesome. I mean, if I could have been a leader, I'd rather be Kid Rock, but we'll see.
That's funny. All right, Del. Thank you for being here. Thank you as always for your support and love. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Thank you for having me in this. I'm very honored to be asked.
Yeah, we'll have some fun. And then when your books come out, come back onto the Best Ever You show, and I'll help you with whatever you need and however it helps you in any small way or whatever. But I'm so proud of you. It's so much fun to see you do all these things. I'm following, going, what's he gonna do next? Yay! So
a lot of fun with the NFL season coming up. It should be good. It should be another good run.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everybody for being here. Take care.
You.
Thank you.